All right. Good morning, everybody. So good to be with you guys. Hey, let me just get my computer all dialed in here. Good to see your smiling faces. Great stuff. Got a great group. Gosh, we got 74 of us today, and so good to be with you. So good morning, everybody. And I'm excited. Excited because today is a beautiful day, and that's a choice for each one of us, no matter what's coming at us. So look, as we move through today, and the things I want to share with you, I hope that you'll take some notes. I hope that you'll take some things that will be helpful for you. Now, 4 weeks ago is a lot of when this really started to kind of pound down. In fact, I would tell you that a lot of it really started 4 weeks exactly from today. From not only a real estate standpoint, and I've said this for quite a bit of time. I've said every month, every day seems like it's an entire month. And I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but it really is kind of true that each day seems to be just a little bit longer and seems to take a little bit more time. And there's a lot of things coming at us. So first and foremost, I want to acknowledge you and thank you for being on this call, because look, it takes a lot right now. You may say, for some of you may say, what's the big deal? This is what I do. I get that. For some of you, that may be the case, but for many of you, it's not. Many of you, it's a struggle to say, man, do I really want to listen to something that someone's going to try to inspire me or motivate me or move me into action? And I think that we need to recognize that there's something that I always remember from Tony Robbins, who said these great words. He said, if you can't, you must. And I don't know if that's applicable to everything, right? If you can't do something, you must do something. But I think there's a lot of things that we do in our lives where we really can do them and we must do them. And part of that is the protection of our mindset. So last week, I talked a little bit about, just a week ago today, I talked about this foundation with the 6 things in it. I talked about making sure that we're living our life with a deep sense of purpose. I talked about the importance of having goals and having a plan and working through a schedule. I talked a little bit about mindset and just the importance of that and making sure that our mental toughness and our confidences and our beliefs are in alignment. I visited with you just a little bit about the skill sets and the necessary skills. And we didn't go over any exact skills, but I talked to them and spoke to them as the importance of elevating our skill sets, especially in a time of the market like today. And then number 6, of course, is the systems and the strategies that we put together to build our career, to handle the business and to do the business so that we can elevate the amount of business that we do. So with that, I just want to start off and mention that no matter where you are in the game of real estate, this foundation applies. And it's something that I find that when people feel disconnected to their activity, it's typically they're disconnected to their purpose. And you may say, man, but isn't this about real estate? Well, it is. But I want you to think about something for a moment. I have three things I want to share with you today. But I want to start off first before I get into these 3 principles. I wanted to share this with you. And that is that the majority of us are in a place in life where it's very seldom that we want to do everything that we're supposed to do during the day. We'll get discouraged, we'll get down, we'll feel off, we'll see things that don't make sense. We don't understand sometimes what our government's doing. We don't understand what a particular leader is doing. We don't understand what other agents are doing. We don't understand, a lot of things in our life. But as you move through your life, I want you to remember one principle that applies to real estate. It applies to your everyday living. And that is that if you find yourself in a space where you are unmotivated, you are uninspired, you are in that heavy space, or you just aren't really connected to yourself, so much of it has to do with the fact that you often forget the purposes that drive your life. And you may say, well, what is that supposed to mean? Well, look, every one of us has a deep sense of purpose. And I know that when we're connected to it, it's like we are unstoppable and we are capable of achieving anything and everything. But when we lose that purpose, when we lose what's driving behind what we do every single day, the problem is that then the phone calls become empty calls. The presentations, no matter whether they're on a Zoom or whether they're through technology or virtually, or whether they're in person, really lose their oomph, their passion behind everything. So oftentimes I'm asked, Well, how do you stay like always so rah, rah, come on, come on, come on, let's go, go, go? Is because of one thing I can tell you that I believe is one of the most important principles that I watch great leadership, I watch great agents, I watch people who have high levels of success, is that they have a lot of deep purpose behind what they do. Now, I want to describe that purpose just for a moment, just a little deeper. And the reason why it's important is because, yes, could we talk about a technology? Of course we can. We can talk about technology all day long. We can talk about a certain skill set all day long. We can talk about a particular pathway to ways to generate business, which is a lot of what I'm going to still share with you today. But that seems also empty when we're not connected deep to our purposes. If you find yourself sick of real estate, if you find yourself sick of this job, if you find yourself discouraged today, it almost always has to do that you've forgotten the purposes that really drive you. So here's the secret that I wanted to share with you that I believe, I don't know if it's a secret, but it's a good way of saying it. I think that it's a good way to say it, because if you really connect to it, it won't feel like a job. You won't be discouraged. You won't get down. Your focal points won't be on money. I mean, let's just look. I mean, I know the people listening to this, you may find yourself getting centered on money for a minute, but money's not the purposes that drive your life. Yes, you need to provide. Yes, you need to protect your family. I get that. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than just the fact of you simply providing. It's so much deeper in the sense of living a life that is purposeful. So what is purpose? Here's the secret. It's reasons. Reasons. What are the reasons why you do what you do? What is it that drives you to do the things that you do? What is important about the things that you do? The secret is the reasons. And I've said this for years. Reasons will never fail you, but your willpower will. See, willpower is always about, I will go make this money, you to make a fortune. But what I recognize is that if you lose the things that drive you from a deep sense of purpose, you're never going to earn the big dollars. You just won't, because it'll become mundane. You'll look for ways to avoid work. You'll be tired all the time. You'll be worn out. You'll be fatigued. You'll feel like it's a job that you're just kind of just banging your head against the wall and working. Well, you don't need to live real estate that way. And you don't even need to live any part of your life that way. If you live life with a deep sense of purpose, if it is in you, then you will act in accordance. You will have such passion. I want you to think about things like this. Are you trying to avoid selling real estate right now? Are you trying to avoid the work today? Are you you feel the call reluctance? Do you feel the fear? Do you feel the anxiety? Do you feel like I'm just trying to, and I want to escape? Guys, these are normal feelings when we're disconnected from what our drive and our purposes are that move our lives. And some of you I know will be like, okay, well, just get onto this lead generation thing. How do I go make more money? And I'm telling you, I almost would tell you that you can never be connected enough to what drives and moves your life. And I promise you that if you can come from a deep sense of purpose, reasons, desire, in the shape of your dreams, and you avoid the fear, and you push aside the scarcity, and you work from a place of abundance, and you repackage a better story, your life is going to be so much better. But some of you get so stuck on the missed deal. You get stuck on what should have happened. You get stuck on the deal. And look, guys, there's a lot of people out of work. Here's the good news. Every one of us on this call has the privilege to be able to go to work unless we allow people to stop us, unless we allow our own fear to stop us, unless we allow our own selves to push against it to stop us. Guys, today is a day to reconnect, to connect to what drives you, to what moves you, to juices you, to gives you reasons. And here's another ingredient to that little process. It always deals with people. Is in the end of the day, you're not going to sit there and say, man, I just wish I would have driven my Mercedes just a little bit longer. No. What you would ask yourself is how you could have made a bigger difference in the lives of the people that you love, how you could have spent more time with people, how you could have created deeper relationships with people. They're global beliefs, guys. Happiness, peace, freedom, connection. They're global beliefs. Global because every human being wants them. And if that's the case, then just do yourself the favor, give yourself the blessing, the gift of living a purposeful life. Take out a notepad, take out your journal that I have right here sitting at my desk, and take the time to ask the better questions. What is the purpose that drives you? What are the reasons what move you today? What is the things you most deeply desire? Most people live their lives based on the avoidance and the fear that is raging inside of them. We work when we are in fear. We work when we are on the edge of disaster. But what if you were able to work in the light? What if you were able to work with deep reasons that abound inside of you, and people feel your love, your energy, your enthusiasm, your zeal, your zest for life? You say, my gosh, come on, George. Man, don't you understand there's a virus going on out here? What's going on with you? And I get that. Yep, there is. But when did that stop you from shifting the way in which you move your life with a deep sense of purpose? Shouldn't have, never could, for many of you on this call. And what I'm finding is that those who have already identified a deep sense of purpose in their life, this virus is just giving them a bigger opportunity to do it, to live out their purpose. And in most cases, that means they're able to serve, give, help, assist, and it doesn't even seem like a job. They're not living in fear. They're not living in the angst of anxiety, of wondering the what ifs. They're just going and trusting in their actions to go give. So look, I see many of you taking notes. So I just want to remind you about the mastery of the story, and I have 3 things I want to share with you in our remaining time. But just a couple of things. 1, you live in an abundant universe. Let's just say that. I live in abundance, that you're abundant. You don't need to live in scarcity. You don't need to live in fear. That's a choice every single day. So can you live as the idea that you live in an abundant universe? That this universe, this earth, this creation was made to give you everything you desire. And the problem is that sometimes we think that it's supposed to come all in a certain way. Remember, point 2, life is happening for you, not to you. Some of you need to cut expenses. Some of you need to improve your parenting. Some of you need to improve your way in which you're working with a spouse or a partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Some of you need to improve the way in which you're treating people. All of these things are beautiful, the way that life is happening. Some of you are figuring out that you should have had more savings. Some of you are figuring out that you should have had more business going before this ever happened. And the thing is that if you work into the grind, you have lost your purpose. Unless your purpose is to grind things out. But I'm going to believe that's not your world. Your world isn't to grind. Your world is to live in the light. So if this is an abundant universe and life is happening for you, not to you, and that the principle of action is the declaration of truth, right? Truth and trust. The principle of action is the declaration of your trust to this universe that it's all going to be okay. And I think it's interesting that people get bothered or offended by these things. I think it's interesting is that when the market's not good, people want to either engage in the things I'm talking about, or they really push away from them, thinking that it doesn't work. And yet I can show you, and I know that, now we have, we have 81 people on this call now, 81 people listening. And I know that so many of you are producing economically at such high levels right now that it's staggering. So what is that? What's the difference? Are those people just lucky? No. They're staying in the light, recognizing this is an abundant universe. Life is happening for you, not to you. And their principles of action are their declaration of their trust to do the job. They declare their trust in this universe and in the process and in the journey by the actions that they take. You guys have heard the principle: faith without action is dead. So let's just put it in more layman terms, business terms. Belief without action is fruitless. Belief, I believe it's all going to work. Well, wait, hold on a second, time out. We got to take action. So what actions should we take? And that's where we're going to spend the rest of the next 10 or so minutes here. All right, gang, so just look. Master the story, master your life. Master your story, master your life. Life is happening for me, not to me. Life is happening for me, not to me. My principles of action declare my trust in this universe, my trust in God, my trust in myself, my trust in a few others, my trust in this journey. My action is a declaration connected to the fact that we live in a web of gratitude that just absolutely emanates from us, that we're in the light as we go live a very purposeful and beautiful life. All right, gang? So here we go. Here's 3 more things for you that I think will be really helpful. Let's talk about lead generation for just one moment, right? Many of us right now really need, you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't want to generate more leads. So let's talk about 3 things. Number 1, let's talk about the sources of business. You know, I'm really fascinated today by the fact that there's a lot of people who feel like, well, who do I call? And we're going to get to what do we say in just 1 minute. But let's just first talk about who can we call? Well, here's the answer to you. Everyone. All right? Everyone is who you could call right now. But let's get more specific. All right? Let's talk about internet leads. Look, we know that 97, 98, maybe 99% of the people are getting online to go look at homes. That's not a secret to anybody. So internet leads are a great way to go about and get business. We know that. But let's just make sure we point one thing out. Any way we go get business, whether you use RedX that drives for sale by owners and expireds. So let's list that one real quick, right? So we've got internet leads, we've got for sale by owners, we've got expireds. Well, we've got like companies like RedX and Vulcan 7 and Boomtown and, you know, internet leads and SEO, pay-per-clicks. All these are all ways, but to do the one thing that has to happen in the end: communicate. All these things do, like a RedX, which drives the newest expired listings to you, the newest for sale by owners to you, as an example. All that it's for is to create an efficiency for you to be able to do the one thing that's critical, and that is talk to people. Talk to people. To be able to talk to people. So look, immediate business right now, internet leads, for sale by owners, expired listings. The best ones I love right now are all the just listed, just solds. On Thursday, I'm down in our St. George offices. I'm talking to Brian Burnett. I said, hey, you've got this new listing that I want to look at. He goes, I know. He goes, I took a year to get that. 1.9 million bucks. Writing the offer Friday to double-sided. Crazy how cool that is. And I said, hey, just curious, where did you get that? 1.9 million bucks double-sided. He said, oh, cold calling. Cold calling. Guys, look, just listed, just sold, cold calls, for sale by owners, expireds, internet leads, pay-per-click, however you want to get your business. Talking to divorce attorneys, estate attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, CPAs, right? You could talk to numerous different, from the electricians to creating a world, a web of different people that you refer business back and forth to. Your sphere of influence, right? The people you know, your past clients, the people who are championing your cause, old expireds, old for sale by owners, old leads. I mean, all of these are ways in which you can contact people. But here's the deal. You have a lot of choices. And really, frankly, it's pretty easy to do that, to choose. But here's the problem, is what people do is they ping pong all around the place once they pick one. So here's my advice to you. Pick at least one in what I consider the business of people you don't know. And at minimum, of course, the mandatory standard is you've got to call your sphere, your past clients, your database, centers of influence, whatever you want to call it. But we've got to make sure that we're calling these people. And then we're going to call all of the for sale by owners, all the expireds, all the just listed, all the just sold, all of these people. Guys, I did a post, and I sent it out to the company also one about the fact that you have nothing to apologize for taking care of people. Look, 90% of the people are going to be thrilled that you call, and you may be dictating your life by the 10% that are angry that you called. Be better than that. Gosh, I got a line probably a mile long of people who don't like what I do every day, who don't like how much I post on social media, who don't like the fact that we're supposed to get after it and go do business, who don't like the things that I say and the passion that I use to say what I say. You know what? That's the 10%. But 90% of the people want that. They want you to call them. They want to hear your voice. So do not allow the 10% of the people who are not your fans, who are always going to be negative, who are always going to push what you have to say aside, be the people who dictate the beauty of you making a call and helping and serving and blessing the lives of people. There are people, as I keep saying, desperate for what you have to say, desperate for what you need, desperate for your voice, for your leadership, for your love, for your kindness, for just hearing your voice and knowing that it's going to be okay if you're there. That is the 90%. And yet we will allow ourselves to be dictated by what other agents will say, what other brokerages will say, what our friends will say, who are well-intentioned, but have negative things to say. And I'm telling you, if you will follow your heart, live a purposeful life, you will not make mistakes in this process. Look, everyone will have an opinion, but the most important opinion is yours, for yourself. And I'm challenging you to follow your heart, to speak from your heart, and to communicate and to talk to people on a consistent and regular basis. They need to hear from you. Do not feel bad for providing for your family. Do not feel bad for the people who are looking for you to call out and to reach out. Critical, okay? That was point one, which was let's figure out who we're going to call. Make a decision right now. Who today you're going to call? How many contacts will you make? How many appointments will you set this week? Get really clear on the intention. Appointment set, contacts made. What will it be for you today? You're going to let another week go by where it's wishy-washy? Get really, really clear. Okay, point one. Point two I wrote down, and that is what am I going to say? What? Here's the simple words. There's just two things I want you to say. How can I help you? Or sorry, how are you doing? I back up. I got ahead of myself. How are you? How are you? Hey, Bob, it's George Morris, Century 21. Just calling to touch bases with you. How are you doing today? Hi, this is George Morris with Century 21. I'm a local real estate agent in the area. I'm calling the buyers and I'm calling the homeowners in the area and just wanted to see, how are you doing? You say, are you kidding me? No, I'm not. How are you doing? And in most cases, for most of my career, I've been against even asking, how are you doing? Because in most places, they don't want to talk. And in most cases, you haven't built enough rapport. But I'm telling you, people are desperate to hear from you. Hi, even if for sale by owner. Hi, this is George Morris, Century 21. I noticed you had your home up on the market as a for sale by owner. And I just want to check in with you. How are you doing? How's it going for you? Simple question, guys. And then the next question, how are you doing? Number two, how may I help you? How may I help you? So once they tell you, once they share with you how they're doing, you ask them, how can you help? What can you do to help them today? Guys, in so many cases, they may not need your help. Don't take offense to that. Maybe the timing's not right. That's okay. Maybe it's not the right moment right now. That's okay. Maybe they need to wait and they need to position when the market makes a different shift. That's okay. No matter what the answer is, it's okay because you're living a purposeful life that you are going to make a difference today. No matter what they need, you're there to make a difference. So think about that. What if you made 30, 40, 50 calls and talked to 30 or so people today? And you just simply said, how are you doing? How can I help you? And that's all you did. You talked about the market conditions. You talked about what's going on. You talked about, you get down into their motivation, their ability, motive and ability and price, right? You can get in there on condition, camp, condition, ability, motivation, price, camp, condition, ability, motivation, and price. But guys, get into that. Get into their motive. What's moving them? Maybe there's people, like I keep hearing stories of people who need to sell, people who want to sell. People are looking for someone to reach out and tell them, you know what, it's going to be okay to sell. I mean, I think it's interesting. People have been telling me luxury homes aren't selling. Really? Really? That's not my observation. It's not my observation at all. The question is that in today's market or even in markets to come, has to be priced appropriately. Has to be priced appropriately. And is there risks at hand, like Ascent and I talked about last week, when we talked about that the risk is, do you want to see if the market goes up or down? I don't know. That's entirely up to you. If you have all the time in the world, don't worry about it. I believe it's going to go back up. That's my personal opinion, but I can't promise that. I can't guarantee that. So is it worth the risk? And I love it. I was talking to someone who said these people lived in a home for it was Vicente. Again, he said these people lived in this home for 20 something years. They've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. The difference is 20 or 30 or 40,000 bucks. Does it matter? Does it really matter? Because even if the market went a little down on the home that they go buy and downsize to, are they going to get the advantage that they need? The answer is, of course, they will get an advantage. Of course, if the market drops a little bit, they'll be able to take the same advantage as they gave up on their home that they sold. Guys, there's just no excuse for homes not to be selling. There's no reason to not be out there. There's no reason to simply not ask the question, how can I help you? How are you doing? How are you doing? How can I help you? How can I help you? How are you doing? That's your script, no matter who you're calling, whether it's internet leads, whether it's for sale by owners, expireds, just listed, just sold. It doesn't matter whether it's your mom or your dad. It's the same thing. Hey, mom, how are you doing? Great. How can I help you? It's the same script for every human being that you're going to talk to right now. That's the beauty of your script. That's the beauty of picking a few sources and going for it. Okay? And last but not least, I wrote down here, consistency. Consistency. Write this down, those of you who are taking notes. Consistency is your greatest tool, gang. Consistency is your greatest tool. I have a quote that I came up with years ago as I observed great agents doing extraordinary things. And what I saw was this: ordinary people doing ordinary things consistently makes them extraordinary. I want you to think about that. Ordinary people doing ordinary things consistently makes them extraordinary. That doesn't matter whether it's working out and taking care of your body and eating right. Ordinary things, ordinary people consistently doing it. You sit there and go, wow, look at how extraordinary they are. Doesn't matter whether we're talking about someone's parenting. Doesn't matter whether we're talking about the way they treat their spouse. It doesn't matter. Ordinary people doing ordinary things consistently makes them extraordinary. So how extraordinary will you be today? How consistent will you be today? How disciplined will you be today? Will you live in your fear, or will you live in your dream? Will you live in the shape of your desires and your most greatest and most impactful desires of your life, the ones that mean the most to you more than anything you could possibly imagine? Or will you live in your fear? And you may say, well, George, my fear is real. I didn't say it wasn't real, right? Maybe some of it is, but also the acronym, false expectations appearing real. Fear, false expectations appearing real. Guys, you can reshape your life economically in a heartbeat, but maybe you need to reshape the way in which you're going about the business. Maybe you need to reshape the way you're moving your life, the reasons that you're giving yourself. Maybe you need to reshape the way in which you're driving your life on a daily basis, not as a criticism, but because this life is happening for you, not to you. Maybe there's a greater purpose. Maybe there's a deeper meaning. Maybe there's a more beautiful space that you're supposed to be living in and standing in. That's the beauty of this whole virus. It's giving you a gut check. It's giving you a chance to take a step back and go, all right, where am I heading in my life? Where am I heading economically and how I'm running and living my life? Right? How am I treating myself with my health and my mental health, and how am I treating this beautiful body that I have, this temple is it spoken to, right? This body. And then the third component, right, is the way in which your relationships unfold. The relationship with yourself, relationship with God, your relationship with your partner, your spouse, relationship with your children, and everybody else. Guys, this is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to make you just hit the pause button to say, where am I going? Guys, if you don't take this time to reshape just that simple question, where am I going? What a tragedy. What a tragedy with everything that's gone on, to ask yourself truly and come to grips with your heart and your mind as to where are you going. Gang, so appreciative for everything that you do. So grateful to see the many acts of service and the ways that you go give back and the things that you're doing. This is an extraordinary time to be alive. This is an extraordinary time to pay it forward, an extraordinary time to love and to serve and to give. And I hope that you'll look for opportunities to do that more than you ever have in the history of your life. You have the privilege to stay in the light, to work from a place of purpose, to work from a place that is of joy and soul. And with that, we've got a little dual thing here. I've got Russ on the other side, and hopefully you're hearing the music just a little bit better. And we're going to wrap up with some closing affirmations. Again, have an extraordinary day. Know how appreciative we are of everything that you're doing. Know that I am here for you. Your entire leadership team is here for you. Reach out. Reach out. I still remember the coined phrase of a good friend of mine who said this: I need a checkup from the neck up. And guys, if you need just a little bit of a conversation, a little bit of help, reach out. Don't isolate. There's no growth and healing in isolation. Remember what I just said. There's no growth and healing in isolation. So get out, talk to people, reach out. If you need help, raise your hand so that we can help. We're here to help you. All right? All right, here we go, gang.